Hello, let's play Pips. We've got 2 by Ian and 1 by Rodolfo today. Let's play some dominoes and hope it doesn't take me as long as it did yesterday on the hard. I'm so sorry about that. Okay, we've got this easy puzzle here. So we need 2 of something in the same domino. It's 4s or 5s. If this were 5s, then the 10 would need to be 6 and 4, which is possible. Actually, that looks decent, because then we could put 4s in the equivalence region. Yeah, this is fine. There we go. Great. Okay, move on to the medium. Oh, interesting shape. 14, right? Why 14? What does that mean? It is the 14th of January. Okay. So we need 2 going into something that makes 13. I mean, that doesn't immediately jump out at me as useful, but this 2 connected to greater than 9 in 2 cells is interesting, because that can only be 10, 11, or 12 in there, which means we can connect to nothing smaller than a 4 from this 2, which means our only choices are the 4 and the 5. If it were this 4, we would then absolutely need a 6 here, and that would need to connect to this 1, and that's not possible. So this is 2, 5. And then we still need something connected to a 1, obviously. So it's this 5. And we've made 10, which is just greater than 9, so that works. Now we need 2 of something, which won't be 6s. Well, we need 3 of something, but it needs to start with a double. So it won't be 6s. It could be 2. It could only be 2s, actually. That's the only thing that'll go in here. Right? Yeah. Okay. And then we need a third 2, of course, and then the other goes into the void. We then need a greater than 3, which is going to be either this 4 or this double 6. Feels like it's going to be the 4, doesn't it? If it were, well, interesting. So if it is the 4 that goes in this greater than 3, then all of our 2s, no, that's not true, never mind. I was going to say all of our 2s are used, but that's, oh, no, it is. Sorry. All of our 2s will have been spoken for, because we'll have one of them here, one of them here, it might not be this one, and then one of them here in the 2. So all it means is the 13 needs to be not made up of 2s, which this is not possible, actually, what I've just done. That's impossible. I wasn't doing it because I was claiming it was correct. I'm just pointing out that it doesn't work, because we now can't make the 13 with what's left. But I was just using that as an example. But we could, in theory, do it the other way around and put, just to test that out, oops, put this here and then the other 2 here. And this does work, I think. Yes, it does, because we can make 12 out of the 13 and then finish the 13 with a 1. All right, that's fine. Let's move on to hard, my bane. Let's see how it goes today. All right, we've got an A. I think we had an A recently as well. So we need 2 6s in that 12. How many 6s do we have? We have 4 6s. We also have no, and they're all taken. We have 2 size 12 regions. Those are all 6s. The 15 is all 5s, because with no more 6s available, the only way to make 15 in 3 cells is with 3 5s. And how many 5s do we have? We have 3 5s. All of our 6s and 5s are spoken for, and I believe what that tells us is that because we don't have any double 5, I think what that means, do we have to bridge? No, okay, and we cannot bridge this 6 5. Can we? No, I don't think we have a 6 5. But I mean the 6 and a 5 across those 12 and 15 regions. No, we don't. So that cannot go there. And we can't waste any 6s. So that would be the only place that something could come out of this. No, that's not true. Well, no, that's a bad conclusion. This could go over here if there are ways to. Here, a better way to look at this, actually, sorry, is that there are no double 5s, which means every single one of these 5s needs to stick out of this 15 region. But we do have 2 choices in most cases. Well, no, not really, actually. One of them goes into the void, so we don't know what's going on with that. The other one can't go into the 12 because we've already determined we don't have a 6 5. So one of the 5s points up into the greater than 2, but I bet that won't be difficult to achieve. Oh, no, it is difficult to achieve. Okay, that was a good exercise. There's only one way to put this in, because only one of our 5s connects to anything greater than 2, so it points that way. The other one points either to a 1 or to an equivalence region. We do have a 1. We have lots of 1s, actually, but one of them is connected to a 5. So that could go there, but it could also go down. Now let's look at this 12. Do we have a 6 1? We do. So this 1 could come from either the 15 or the 12 region. It couldn't come from neither. Well, no, actually, no, it couldn't come from the 15. Sorry. If it came from the 15, we would, oh, no, we do have a double 12. We do have a double 6 in the 12. Sorry, that is possible. I'm just saying all kinds of things that are false. Okay, well, this we can at least place, and we did, so that's fine. So we've used, okay, but we've used all of our 6s, we've used all of our 5s. We can keep this pattern going. The 12 now needs to be made with 3 4s, because with no 6s and no 5s to use, the only way to make a 3-cell 12 region is with 3 4s. And how many 4s do we have? Do we have 3 of them? No, we have 4 of them. We have 4 of them, okay. And I don't see any that are explicitly enumerated. Oh, no, I do, because greater than 3, we have no 5s or 6s. So that greater than 3 is a 4. That is, in fact, a 4. So what that tells us is we have exactly the number of 4s we need, which means we can't waste any 4s, which means this double 4 goes up here in one of these two positions. Because if it went anywhere else, we would waste at least one of those 4s. I don't know which of these positions it goes in, but just putting up there temporarily. So the other 4s then, well, the problem is one of them, if those 4s are here, one of these could go into an inequivalence region, which is not very constraining. But the other one needs to go down here. So it points either to a less than 3, which could only be this 1, or it points up into an equivalence region, which currently looks like it could be anything. Okay. But those are the things we've learned. Our 6s, 5s, and 4s are completely spoken for. So can we keep using those restrictions? For instance, this 3-cell equivalence region does need a double of something because it's in a corner there. So it could be double 0. It probably actually can't be double 0. No, it can't be double 0 because, well, no, it just could be. Maybe. Because we have 4. No, it couldn't be. No, sorry, it couldn't be. No, we just don't have enough. There just aren't enough zeros. Sorry. I just miscounted the zeros, as I often do, as I did yesterday disastrously. Didn't miscount, but misperceived. Right. So this cannot be 0, because then we wouldn't have enough to make the double 0. Sorry, that's obvious. Okay, so what could it be? It could be double 1. Does that work? How many 1s do we have? I think we have quite a few. We have 7 1s. We have the maximum count of 1s. So that doesn't tell us very much. What about, well, yeah, this 2 could still be double 1 or 2 0. We do still have a third 0 to work with. We could do this, for instance, and then put, yeah. What about 3s down in this equivalence region? We seem to have a fair number of 3s. It doesn't seem that difficult. We have a 2 being called for up there. How many 2s do we have? Oh, only 2? Well, that's interesting. Unfortunately, the one up here, the stuff that connects to is pretty open-ended. It's a void or in an equivalence region, which is not very useful. But that is interesting, because that means if we were to make this 2 region, if we were to comprise it of a 2 and a 0, we would have used all of our 2s, which is interesting, and all of our 0s, actually. Yeah, I wonder if that is the tough thing to do. Then this could go either here or here. Then we'd need a 2 pointing into the equivalence region, which would be, what are the possibilities there? 2 or 5. I don't think it can be 5. It can't be 5. We've used our 5s and 6s. So if this were like that, there's no reason to assume that it is, but if it were, let's just think about it. That would go there. We'd need one more 0. Oh, which is a 6. Oh, that's interesting, that one of our zeros is a 6. So wherever we put that 0, it needs to be used carefully. That would then mean this double 6 goes over here. And this 6 would have to point up. Could only be this one, actually, then. Which would mean this 1 would have to point up to a 4, which works, actually. Which means this would be double 4. I mean, that all works so far, actually. I don't know if that means it's correct or not. This 5 couldn't connect to this 2. Oh, this breaks it. Sorry, I didn't think about the fact that one of our 2's is connected to a 5. This is wrong, but for a reason that I should have previously observed and neglected to do. Right, so once I noticed we only had 2 5's, I should have also noticed that one of the, sorry, two twos. Once I noticed we only had 2 2's, what I should have noticed is that one of them is connected to a 5. And those 5, there are only 2 places, broadly 2 locations this 5 can go. Go either here, which is impossible, because then we would need another 2 in the equivalence region, and that would use all of our 2's. This is what I should have been doing minutes ago. Sorry about this. Can't point here because it breaks the 1. It could go here. This is the only place. Oh, right. No, this is literally the only place this 5 can go. Sorry, period. That's it. It can only go here because it can't go in this other position, and we need all of our 5's. So that goes there. The end. Full stop. Okay. But what that means is we only have one other 2 to work with, and that one goes up here. That's it. We don't know which direction it points yet, but it goes up there. So what that means, once again, we have constrained one of our small counting regions, small sums regions, I guess. It can't be 2 0, which means it is 2 1's. So we've got 2 1's being accounted for there, another one over here. So that's 3 1's being used. But we do have quite a lot of 1's. Don't we have 7 of them? We do. So it still could be this equivalence region, and I sort of suspect it will be. That's good to know. If it weren't, actually, where would we put all these 1's if it weren't that equivalence region? That might be the problem. There might not even be enough places for them to go. It could go in this 2-cell equivalence region, and 2 of them in the 2. Oops, 1 sec. Okay, sorry, I had a knock on the door. What was I saying? Oh, right, I was thinking about 1's. If the 1's were not in that, okay, where can the 1's go? They can go in this equivalence region up here. These 2. That's 2. They could go in these 3 cells that are nothing. That's 3 more. 1 in the accounted for 1 region. 2 in this. Yeah, okay. That's lots of places 1's can go. Never mind. I was thinking maybe we wouldn't have enough places to put the 1, but I'm not sure. That's a big problem. Okay, so this 5 1, if that pointed down, actually this would be a problem. Not a problem, but it would start demanding things right off the bat. If this 5 1 were here, we would then need this double 1 here. We would also need a greater than 3 connected to a less than 3. Now we know the greater than 3 can only be 4. So it would be 4 connected to less than 3, which is surprisingly constrained. It's just that yet another 1 is being used here. It's just this 4 1. That's the only possibility. That's interesting. We now have ruled out, in this case, we've now ruled out 1's from being in that 3-cell equivalence region. We have sort of exhausted our 1's in that respect, which means I think they probably have to go in this equivalence region, but I'm not sure that that's yet necessary. Actually, it isn't. No, okay. Well, it might, actually that might work, because we need one of our 1's to go up there. So we only have 2 1's left to use. Which means they can't go in that equivalence region in this situation, because we know we need 2 of our 1's for this 2-cell 2 region. Right. So what would that tell us, actually? That is really difficult to achieve. It might be impossible to achieve. I think it is, actually, because one of our 1, yeah, so I was correct that this was like a trickier, more difficult thing to achieve, because we can't waste any 6's, and we can really, this could only go here. Yeah, it could only go there, actually, because, well, or here, I guess, but that's actually not possible, because then we'd need an identical one of those to the right, which isn't possible. So it'd have to go here, but then we don't have enough 1's left. We still need 2 of them for that 2 region. Right, don't we? I think I said that was necessary. I can no longer remember why. I had to take a break, and now I can't remember why. Should I trust my past self? Sorry, for you, there was no break. For me, there were several minutes, and now everything is leaked out of my brain. I think this doesn't work, though. I think with that, sorry, I'm just going to have to assume that had a reason for thinking that, even though I can no longer remember what it is. So I think what that means is this needs to go here. I hope that's correct to say that. How annoying that I just can't remember. Oh, another thing about this 12 and the double 4. We know that it needs to have a double 4 in it, don't we? It can't go here because look, we've got an odd number of cells left in this area. So it needs to go here. And then a 4 points down. We also need a 4 down here. I need to remember to use that. Right. So this is down here. The 4 down in the corner is either the 4, 1 pointing to the less than 3 or the 4, 3 pointing up into the equivalence region. And currently, I think, yeah, either of those is possible. What about over here? Either 4, 1 pointing down. If the 4, 1 pointed down, we then need a 1, 6 and a 6, 0. That works. That might be correct, actually. Or we would need a 4, 3. Then we'd need a 3, 6, which we don't have, so that's not it. Okay, yeah, so this is the one I thought it was going to be, and it is. Okay, so that's 4, 1. Then we need, at least assuming I haven't made a mistake, which is totally possible, especially with yesterday in mind, obviously. But now we need a 6, 0. This is the one that feels right to me. Then we need another 0, which cannot point to... Oh, I thought I broke it, but not yet. Not yet. I was thinking, oh, but the only 0 we have is this one. At that point, it can't point across. We've, I think, demonstrated that. And it can't go down because we don't have enough zeros. Oh, no, I've broken it. But no, I haven't because I always miss 0 dominoes. It's infuriating. But this can still go here with a double 3. And then the 2 is a double domino 1. Please continue to work. I'll be very relieved if you continue to work. I think this is correct. And then over here, because we still need the 4. Actually, no, this could, well, yeah, no, never mind. I don't know which of these is correct. Either of these seems currently as though it could work because the 4, 3 could point up, then the 3, 1 could point down. This works, actually, because then 2, 1 points into the inequivalence region, and we fail to break the equivalence region with a 0, and that's it. Okay. I'm not sure how accurate that timer is. It might be accurate, but I think it might also be a little long. Based on my pause, I'm not sure. Anyway, that's fine. We got it. We got to the end. And there we go. Those were the pips. Much less of a disaster than yesterday, thankfully. All right, back tomorrow. Bye for now.